I'm starting to think about Christmas, and I'm gonna be honest, I think we should just boycott these companies this year. I'm not even thinking about it from a political perspective, even though everything is political, right? But I'm looking at it more from a we're all struggling kind of perspective.
Me and my kids are not participating in Christmas this year, but before you go and call us a bunch of Grinches, hear me out, okay?
Hi guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome back to the channel. So in our previous video, we talked about how a lot of Black Americans are saying they are done with Christmas. Well, guess what? White people are joining in too. They are saying the exact same thing. No more Christmas. No more giving money to big corporations. No more fake holiday joy. Looks like people are waking up and realizing holiday spirit is not what it used to be. Let's see how these people are reacting to this, and don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments.
I already saw my first Christmas commercial. It was from Walmart. Please, can we have a different Christmas this year? You guys, it's so important. We can't go out spending a ton of money on useless shit. I don't want to go to Goodwill Outlet and see like mountains and mountains of Christmas shit that people threw away after the holiday. Christmas trees, Christmas lights, Christmas ornaments. Please reuse your stuff from last year, guys. Please, like, talk to your kids and be like, hey, since the world and society is crumbling, we're gonna make a decision of integrity this year, and we're not gonna be buying a bunch of brand new toys. Now, so what you could do though, if you do want to buy your kid toys, is like you could go on eBay and you could buy like cool collectible Lego sets and stuff like that, pre-owned stuff. Maybe just start like thinking creatively. And instead of like going shopping for fun, how about just like cooking a cozy meal for fun? Or baking some cookies with people, or watching like a Christmas movie on a DVD instead of buying the streaming services. But anyway, stuff like that. Like, it's the best thing that we can do to not spend our money. That's all we have to do. Like, literally all we have to do is not spend money, and we could change everything. We own all this shit. We're just not we're not taking the steps to like have the power, and literally all we have to do to have the power is stop spending our money.
I'm starting to think about Christmas, and I'm gonna be honest, I think we should just boycott these companies this year. I'm not even thinking about it from a political perspective, even though everything is political, right? But I'm looking at it more from a we're all struggling kind of perspective. It's really messing me up the way that people are just avoiding the things that are happening in our world, our country, our society. And we are just so consumed by little treats and just the despair that a lot of people are just avoiding what's happening because they think that's just the best way to handle this. And I think that we can make a really big impact if we decide to boycott these companies this year.
Okay, here are some ways that I am prioritizing keeping our money in our communities. The first thing is I'm prioritizing secondhand and handmade gifts. So if you are receiving a gift from me this year for the holidays, it will likely be either something that I made with my hands or something that I found secondhand, or something that made me think of you that I found in my local community. I am not giving my money to large corporations for knickknacks. I know that during the holidays, there's a big push of like little lotions and hand soaps and stuff. I am taking the time, instead of doom scrolling on my phone, to create some gifts. And I'm starting to think about that now. It is the middle of October. I don't want it to be Christmas week and then I'm there frantically trying to figure out what to give my daughter's teacher, and end up falling into that trap. In the past, I have had an Amazon wish list for my daughter for items that we may want for her and all that stuff. And I think I've come to realize, after not having an Amazon account for a few months now, that a lot of the things that we end up buying on there are actually not really necessities. I know that for a lot of people, it could be, if you live in a remote area where you can't access that's a different story. But I live in a very busy, easy to access location. So I don't need a lot of the things that are on Amazon. And if I do, I can find them at a local store. For my daughter, this year, instead of sending an Amazon wish list, I will be sending a link to her 529 account, so that if you are planning to spend $10 to $20, whatever it is, on a gift for her, I would actually prefer you put that money towards her education fund. This is just like an example of small actionable ways in which I am participating in the economy, or at least or refusing to participate in this economy. I think that it's very easy for you to just say, well, I'm gonna just buy this. Like, no, take assessment of the things that you really absolutely need. I think that we are underreacting to what's going on in the world right now, and specifically in this country. There's no reason why a bag of Tostitos costs $9.99 when the minimum wage is like $12 an hour. What do you mean that it takes me an hour of labor for me to be able to buy a bag of chips? That is insane and dystopian. And I think we have the power to send a message.
Me and my kids are not participating in Christmas this year, but before you go and call us a bunch of Grinches, hear me out, okay? So I was born in the 80s when I believed Christmas actually served a purpose. However, today I don't think it does. I think it is a waste. I think it is an entire scam. Stay with me. So back in the 80s, you only got things on your birthday or Christmas. If you had holes in your pants, tough shit, you're gonna run around with holes in your pants until your Christmas or your birthday. So those 2 days are not near, you're going to be running around with holes in your pants. Fast forward to today, if you want a new pair of pants, you just go get that new pair of pants, okay? We are a society with Amazon and other freaking online stores at our fingertips. If we want something, we go and get it within reason, of course, okay? But we're not waiting for Christmas or birthdays to get the things that we want. So why are we spending one day to buy more crap that we don't need? That just doesn't make sense to me, okay? Not only that, I value experiences, which obviously I'm my kids' parent, so they tend to kind of adopt whatever I think. So luckily, my kids also value experiences over things. Of course, they like nice things. I like nice things. However, experiences are just so much more valuable to us. And because we have a lot of experiences in life, we go cool places, we see cool things, we immerse ourselves into cultures, things just tend to not be as important. So this year, all right, my tree is completely empty. Okay, there's no gifts under there because we're not doing gifts, okay? We're doing stockings. We'll have a stocking each with a few little things that we might like, that we might want, okay? Things that make us smell good, feel good, look good. But other than that, we're not doing gifts, all right? I understand in the 80s, it served a purpose. And if you want to hop on this little car, this little no freaking gift crap car, feel free to hop in. It's nice here. I'm not stressed. I have zero stress. I see everyone running around like a chicken with a head chopped off, thinking about what gifts they're gonna buy, A, B, C, D. We don't need to do that anymore. We live in 2023, not 1983, all right? It's unnecessary, okay? Spend time with your loved ones, eat the good food, watch the movies, have the hot chocolate with marshmallows, but we do not need to buy more crap on top of the crap that we already have. It's a scam. Bye.
So today's October 2nd. So it gives us roughly, 2.5 months until Christmas? I don't think Christmas is in our budget this year. Really curious on how many other people are going to skip Christmas this year. You can give gifts any time of the year. You can show, being grateful or appreciative, or just giving gifts to see someone smile any time of the year. Black Friday, reason why they have Black Friday? It's because a lot of companies are in the red right now. They usually are towards the end of the year, and they want to get into the black, i.e. Black Friday. They don't care about us. Why should we care about them? Stay in the red.
After much conviction and revelation, my family and I have decided that we will no longer be celebrating Christmas. Christmas is demonic and a pagan tradition. And I know many of you might think, but it's Jesus' birthday, how is it demonic? Jesus was never born on December 25th. He was never even born in December. And before I get into the reasons why we are no longer celebrating, I just want you to know this was a little bit difficult for us, because if anybody knows us, they know that we went all out on Christmas. My grandma was a Christmas Eve baby, so it was like in her blood. She would decorate, she would go all out. We would have holiday parties. I'm talking Christmas trees, real trees that we would decorate. The whole house completely decorated in lights. Figurines and statues and snowmen and cookies and all these things. Like, people knew us when it came to the holidays, when it came to Christmas. We were that family that people talked about, and we loved it. Obviously, we didn't know what we were celebrating was demonic. We didn't know the root of the holiday, because back then we didn't have TikTok, we didn't have social media, we didn't have the knowledge that we do today. And so just like the rest of the world, we blindly followed the traditions that were passed on from previous generations, and we just continued those practices and continued and continued and continued until finally God has been revealing to us we should no longer be celebrating this holiday. Over the past few years, it seems that always around the holiday times, God always strips us and takes a lot from us, so he put us into a place where we really couldn't even celebrate the holiday. And over the past couple years, we've been wondering, is it because we were not meant to celebrate? Well, this year we finally decided we're not going to do it anymore. If you look at all of the Christmas traditions and what people do during this period, it all goes back to pagan rituals that were done by other nations, by other people, to honor and celebrate their God. Christmas trees, decorating Christmas trees, putting on ornaments, putting on balls. It was used as a sign of an offering to the gods to show them, hey, we're giving you this in return. It was supposed to be used for fertility so that they would get pregnant, and it represented what you think it would represent, and they would put balls on it. And yeah, okay. People make gingerbread men and they eat gingerbread men. Gingerbread men stem from, they would make little pastries or cookies in the shape of little men, and they would eat them before they would offer this person as a sacrifice to their God. Hanging up stockings and putting gifts, it all stems from children would put carrots and straw in their boots, and they would leave it out for Odin, their God, because they said that he would come and visit them once a year. They would leave out the carrots and the straw for his horse for him to feed, and in return, he would give them little gifts in their boots, which you get the stockings. Mistletoe was also used as paganism to their God, to make their God happy. They would hang up mistletoe, and then they would all have fertility rituals, and in return, by making him happy, by letting him watch, hopefully he would give them children. And you could go on and on with all the different rituals that we do as a society today to celebrate Christmas. You can look all of this up yourself, to read for yourself, to see what you were actually celebrating by doing these practices. What we've come to learn on our journey and on our walk with God, getting deeper and deeper into truth, the more you know, the more that is required of you. God has been steadily leading us to him on this walk that we are currently on. And once you know something, you can't unknow it. And I know many people are going to say, but we're not doing it. We're not celebrating the way that they're doing it. We're not celebrating what they represented and what they did. It doesn't matter, because you're still celebrating their pagan traditions. You're still carrying on things that were passed down from them, from what they did with their gods, and you just changed it when you're still celebrating what they celebrated. Even though you think you're not doing anything wrong, it is still wrong. And believe me, we were the same way. We tried to justify it, like, well, we're not celebrating, we're not doing this, but God was like, no. You were not to celebrate this. I did not tell you to have these festivals. I did not tell you to have these traditions. This is not from me. And when you are following God, you have to do what God tells you. You have to live for God. You have to put your old ways away. And this comes into play. Are you going to follow me? Are you going to give up your old life, become new and transformed for me? Are you going to still hold on to the things that I am calling you away from? Are you still going to hold on to the things that I've been telling you are not right? So this year, after going through so much in my life, I said, I'm to a point, I don't care, God. Like, I'm fed up with the life that I have been living. I'm fed up with going through trials and tribulations. I'm fed up with trying to do my own thing, live my own way, go my own way. I am completely surrendering everything. If I have to give up Christmas to get to my promised land, I am giving up Christmas to get to my promised land, because I am ready for some peace. After finally coming to this conclusion, tell me why I was reading my word, and he was speaking and showing me, yep, this is the right choice. This is the right decision. In 2 Kings chapter 17, the Assyrians had just came over and taken over Israel's land and are now occupying the land. And they talk about how they got there and lions are killing all of them because they don't know how to worship the God of the land. They don't know how to worship Yahweh. And so they were taught how to worship God, but they were also still worshiping the other gods that they were taught from their childhood. It goes on to say in 2 Kings 17:32 all the way down, they also worshiped the Lord, and they appointed from among themselves priests to sacrifice to the Lord on the hilltop altars. But they continued to follow the religious customs of the nations which they came. And this is still going on among them today, which it still is with us. They followed their former practices instead of truly worshiping the Lord or obeying the laws he gave to the descendants of Jacob, whose name was later changed to Israel. For the Lord had made a contract with them that they were never to worship or make sacrifices to any heathen gods. They were to worship only the Lord who brought them out of the land of Egypt with such tremendous miracles and power. The descendants of Jacob were to obey all of God's laws and never worship other gods. For God had said, "You must never forget the covenant I made with you. Never worship other gods. You must worship only the Lord. He will save you from all your enemies." But Israel didn't listen, and the people continued to worship other gods. These colonists from Babylon worship the Lord, yes, but they also worship their idols, and to this day their descendants do the same thing. And so though, yes, you might think, I'm not worshiping those gods, I'm not doing that, what are you talking about? You still are worshiping them. You're putting up these idols. You're putting up Santa Claus statues and figures, snowmen, gingerbread men, all these different figures in your house. You're setting up an altar with the tree and the lights, and you're still practicing these practices, these pagan practices that God never intended for his people to practice. If you are a true follower of Jesus, a true follower of Yahweh, I strongly and firmly believe that we as Christians need to stop celebrating this holiday. We can't continue to be like our parents, like our generations before us, just like the Israelites when they were in the wilderness. That old generation had to die out. They couldn't go to the promised land because they weren't following God. But the newer generation, they were able to enter into that promised land that God had declared because they did something new. God called them to be something new, to be something different, to do something different, and they did. And because of their obedience, because they weren't that former generation, they were able to enter into that promised land and see all that God had called for them to have. And I feel like God is calling us to be that new generation, to be that new generation that does the new so that we can enter and see the things that our generations before us have never seen before. I'm just sharing what God has been speaking to me and my family, what he's been telling us. You know, you can obviously still do what you want to do, but let me just tell you that you're either going to be all in with God or you're going to be out. You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And ultimately, you're going to have to make that choice and that decision. And if you're not on that strong walk with God just yet, continue to lean into him, to learn with him, to grow in him. But as for me and my home, we shall serve the Lord.
I kind of get where they're coming from. Every year, these companies push the same holiday magic commercials just to make people feel guilty if they don't buy something. Folks maxing out credit cards, fighting for TVs, and then going broke right after New Year's. Like, who is this really helping? Some Black Americans started saying they don't feel connected to Christmas the way it's pushed today. It doesn't feel genuine. It just feels like more spending. And now, funny enough, a lot of white Americans are joining that same talk. They're like, nah, we're not giving these billion-dollar corporations any more of our money for one day of fake joy. People are calling it a holiday detox. They want peace, not pressure. They want real family time, not forced shopping lists. Some are even saying they'll just cook at home, hang out, or do something meaningful instead of buying gifts just to prove love. It's not even about canceling Christmas. It's about taking it back, making it real again. Whether you celebrate or not, just remember, peace and love don't need a receipt. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Are you still celebrating Christmas this year or sitting it out too? Drop your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like, and I'll see you in the next one.